Welcome back.
We're back.
Another week in the cabin. Haven't seen you in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Well, that's not true.
Well, we saw each other yesterday, but
That's what I
up
said.
until then it was 2 weeks.
That was. Yes, it was. Hopefully everybody's having a good night tonight. Hopefully you had a good week. Hopefully you had a good couple weeks.
Absolutely. Hopefully you missed us.
Yeah, we were MIA for a week there. We took a week off for Labor Day and enjoyed recreating a little bit.
Enjoyed labor.
So it was all good. It was all good. All right, so let's get a little bit of sharing out of the way here.
Let's do that.
And we will get started with tonight's show and have a little fun, talk a little outdoors, talk about some good stuff.
Absolutely.
So how you been, man? Been a while since I've seen you in the cabin.
Busy.
Busy?
Busy.
That's good.
Unfortunately, that work thing gets in the way of the fun stuff.
Yeah, I know. It's funny how that works out, isn't it?
I know, right? So, what about you?
I've done a few things outdoorsy, you know.
You were up north. I was up north.
Yeah. So it's been all good.
We got to enjoy a shoot yesterday.
So, yep. Man, piling in the cabin tonight. Wow, you guys are like jumping on this. You guys must be jonesing a little bit. Hey, Tammy Duck, howdy back at you. And we're going to do the little share here. If you guys would, jump on over on your Facebook page. Give us a share on your page. Let's invite some more people over that might enjoy the show tonight. So we'll pile them all in here tonight. We're going to do a kind of a little mismatch.
2 weeks in review.
Of what's been going on. We don't have a guest tonight, so but we got some good ones coming up here in a couple weeks. We got a guy from Yamaha, Walleye Fisherman.
Yeah, Spencer. I'm going to botch this name until it corrects me. I think it's Dutz.
Okay.
That's next week. He's a walleye professional angler. He'll be on next week. And then to round out the month of September,
Michigan's own
Brian Anderson
from G5 Outdoors.
Right.
So we're going to be talking some broadheads and what's going on with G5. So we got a lot of cool stuff coming up.
All right.
So
my computer's going a little slow.
Yeah, that's because all those people jumping on right now, man.
I think
piling
so.
in the cabin.
Just take me a second here, and we'll get our shares out of the way. And
actually, that coffee's so doggone hot. I think I'm going to take the lid off so it can cool off a little bit. The Hunter's Blend is rocking tonight. Good stuff. Look at that steam coming out of that cup tonight.
I know, right?
It's all good. It's all a cup full of goodness. You about done over there?
Almost. I got 2 more clicks I'm hoping to hit, and we should be good to go. How about this weather? Had a little bit of rain, but it's kind of cooling off. I think it's going to be cool all weekend. All week.
It was chilly this morning, man. It was pretty wild. I went out and took a run this morning, and it was just a little bit chilly. Billy Hoffman, what's going on, man? Thanks for a great shoot yesterday. We're going to talk about that a little bit. And I watched that video, and you are absolutely right, man, about that video of the Brave. That arrow flight was incredible. They did do their homework. Dan Anderson, all the way from over in Wisconsin. What is going on? Daniel Burns, what is happening, my friend? Todd DeVogue.
It's Todd.
I
met Todd yesterday.
Oh, Todd. That Todd. Oh, Todd, what's going on? He's going to be taking a nice little ride here in a couple weeks. Eric Dabbs. Hey, what's going on, my friend? Charles Byram is in the house tonight. Charles, what is going on over in Iowa? You guys slamming bucks over there early, hopefully?
Well, Dan Anderson just said that the Wisconsin opened this weekend, but he didn't make it out.
Oh, man, that's too bad.
I saw Buffalo County Outfitters did a heck of a job.
There you go. Brian Taylor's also in the house tonight, and 3 other people which I don't see just yet. But wow, people are piling in the cabin.
That's good. They missed us.
They did.
They want to hear what we did and our adventures that we were having this past 2 weeks.
All right. Well, are you ready, my friend?
Let's do it.
All right. Here we go. Stand by in 3, 2, and 1. Welcome back to another episode of the Up North Journal, everybody. Host Mike Adams back in the cabin after a week off with Dan DeFall, sitting here on a Sunday afternoon. Fall has arrived. There's a little cool Christmas in the air. It's almost like an old friend that walks up to you for the first time and shakes your hand and says, "Good to be back."
Let's say fall's in the air, not Christmas.
I didn't say Christmas.
Yes, you did.
No, what was I trying to say? After I said it, I said that sounds like Christmas, but it wasn't.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't Christmas.
Crispness?
Crispness, that's what it was.
Okay.
Yeah, crispness.
Okay.
Crispness.
Crispness.
So.
All right.
But yeah, it's just like a good old friend comes up and shakes your hand and says, "Man, I hadn't seen you in a year. How you been?"
Got my cousin Cheryl on.
All right.
She's the one that works at Cabela's.
Yeah, Cabela's down in Chesterfield, right?
Yeah.
All right. We went by there yesterday.
Daniel Burns, 2 weeks till Nevin hunts our way.
All right. Keep us posted on what's going on down there with that as well, my friend.
That's right.
So while we're at it here, let's kick this thing off tonight with telling the good people about the good people who help us.
If you could help us all, help our supporters by going over to their website, checking them out, we can help you out a little bit as well. Rebel 6. It's that season. Any time is good to have a barbecue or even inside. And you want to go over to Rebel 6 Rubs and check out their line of rubs that they got. And we know they're working on some new ones.
Yeah, we talked about that a couple of weeks ago.
Yes, we did. If you go over there, use the promo code NORTHJournal, you'll get 20% off your order. And you know, guys and gals, we're seeing it. Youth season's kicking off. Wisconsin's kicking off. Go over to Buck Baits. We had them on 2 weeks ago, matter of fact, which everybody's going to send us pictures of this venison stuff, and everybody's going to try it, right?
We've been hearing about it.
Right.
Everybody's getting that recipe, and they're ready to check it out and try it out. So
absolutely. Get over to buckbaits.com. You can get 20% off your order. Use the promo code UpNorthJournal.
There you go.
And last but not least, we're drinking it right now. He's talking about how hot it is. Hunter's Blend Coffee. Get 10% off your order when you check out there using the promo code capital UNJ.
Right there. You see it right there below my finger. Capital UNJ. Use that. Save yourself 10%. And I hit the wrong button. We disappeared.
What?
Well, there we are. We're
Okay.
back. It's been 2 weeks, man. I hit the wrong thing.
Right?
You know, a little out of practice. So.
Tim Cius down in...
Did you see Tim's new call that he just whipped up? The two-sided call.
Yes, I did.
Tim, shout out, man. I'm very intrigued in that, and great backstory. We got to get you on the show and talk about that, because that looks like a nice piece of turkey tool that we want to use in the wood. Turkey tool that we use in the wood. So
I'd like to run it against a couple of competitors we know and see how it sounds.
Absolutely. I want to hear Tim run it.
Well, we know Tim can take a piece of wood and a piece of slate from the ground and make everything sound
right.
good.
Hey, Mark Cullen, what's going on? Glad you're in the house tonight.
Next, what do we got here?
Eric Ernest, hey, welcome. Welcome to join the show here.
Charles Byram says some special hunts open next in Iowa yesterday.
Yeah.
And next weekend, disabled and youth will open.
And I want to give a special shout out tonight, all the way from my hometown in Haleville, Alabama. We've got Della Frost watching tonight. A friend of my father's down on the farm, down at Adams Dairy Farm, my namesake. So welcome. Thanks for joining in tonight.
And Eric Dabb says next weekend Minnesota season. It sounds like
that time of year, man.
It's getting that time of year, and talking about that, a lot of people were posting today about the youth hunt and some Liberty hunters as well. And I don't know if it's because it's 1 week earlier than normal than we've done it here in Michigan, but we are seeing a tremendous amount of velvet bucks.
I noticed that this morning. I was looking on, I believe it was Michigan Deer Hunters, Let Them Go, Let Them Grow. And there was quite a few youth that had some stuff posted that had velveted bucks.
Absolutely, and I tell you what, that's awesome. I mean, there was a couple of velvet bucks that were just, they were spectacular looking. Actually, and I think it was Al Baggett's son. I looked at his picture. He got a nice buck, and his antlers looked really red.
Mm-hmm.
So
probably just scraped.
That's what I was thinking myself. I said, wow, those are really red. So congratulations to him and all the youth hunters and all the Liberty hunters.
Absolutely.
I know Lincoln Roan was out there, and he did a couple live drops, and some of those hunters there did a fantastic job.
That's awesome. Well, where do you want to start tonight?
Let's go back and kind of, we'll start from Labor Day weekend, and we'll work our way up to today.
Okay, well, my Labor Day weekend was kind of short. I made a quick trip up to deer camp.
How is it looking? I know there was some color.
There's a little bit of color. The ferns are starting to die off.
Isn't
They're
that
turning brown.
Isn't that a great sight?
It's like once you see that, you know the mosquitoes are on their way out, that they're going to be done. There's just a little bit of color starting. Well, we noticed that when we were up shooting tack the week before that, or the weekend before that, I should say.
Right, exactly. And then when like you went up to the northern lower, and I went just a little bit further.
You went a lot further.
Yeah, right. So
I'll wait the UP.
how did the property look? Did I saw if you're starting to see color, the ferns are dying. Are the geese still there?
The geese are still there, and one of our members was up there this weekend, hopefully hammering the bedevil out of them. So,
how does that work in something like that? Once you start shooting, do they leave or do they actually come back?
it depends. I mean, I've seen some come back through. I mean, we're not trying to burn the roost and shooting them off the roost, off the water, or nothing. But they hit the fields. Morning they hit the field, they come flying in to eat, and in the evening they come in to fly in to eat, and then they hit the water. So,
well, when we were up there, they just kind of walked right up onto the field and said, "Hey, here's our dinner table," and go back, and then come back, and here's our. It's like, I get it.
I didn't see a lot of deer, but what I went up for, I made a quick day trip up to go up and do some mapping. Did some GPS work for our blinds. We're trying to put all of our stuff together on a map so everybody can see, where everything's located on the property, because now we turned our camp around and we're all sharing the whole area, the whole piece of land together, which has been a big change for our camp. So that was the reason I was there, was to map
that's awesome.
the south end of the property. So I got that done, and then I had some stuff to take care of back here in town, so I came back.
Yeah, and shout out to my cousin Dennis. He says he can't wait for October family fun up north. That's right, third week of October.
Yeah, I don't know when I'm going to get up there. I'm just kind of playing around with some times. It's going to depend on the weather when I get up there to bow hunt. We'll have to wait and see.
And sadly, the weekend before was one of our cousins was supposed to get married, but they canceled their reception because of
Rona. Yeah, the Rona.
So they postponed it for a year. So we'll enjoy that next year. But hopefully the week after we'll be up north to the UP for a week, and we'll go. I think my brother's going to go with my sister-in-law.
Okay.
Me, my cousin Dennis, Cheryl.
Go
have a family
affair.
Hopefully it's a family shoot fest.
There you go.
Unfortunately, we can't shoot does.
Don't get started on that.
I'm not going to.
That's a whole show, man, in and of itself tonight.
Right,
man.
Which we need to work on. We had that by my brother, having somebody on to show us what is the proper does and what they look like at what age.
Yeah, we still have to do that to try to get that knocked out.
So we'll try to work on that, get that taken care of. But yeah, so when you get up there, like you were up at the property, just getting out in that
it felt so good.
Yes.
It felt so good to be back out in the field, out in the woods, doing what we do and preparing for the upcoming season. And everything in the last couple of weeks has kind of been that, looking towards the season, pointing towards the season and getting ready. You were up and you did some work at your place.
Oh, absolutely. I left on Wednesday night. Me and my brother promptly left at between 5 and 6 and beelined it up there and got there at 2 in the morning, which actually, when you're getting there at 2 in the morning and the cabin's all set, is not a bad thing.
Right.
You just roll right in and you do what you got to do. But we had a little bit of rain on Thursday, and after that, it was I could tell they've had a lot of water. Mm-hmm. Starting out at the beginning of the road, when you come into our road to our camp, it's a downhill grade. Mm-hmm. Well, there was about a 6-inch crevice, a washout from the road down about 3/4 of the way. Okay. And there was just a bunch of not cement, gravel there. Okay. And I'm like, wow, they had some rain up here.
Right. Yeah, I know. We've got a lot of rain here in Michigan the last couple of weeks.
Right. So I had my cousin Dennis bring the tractor down, graded that out, smoothed that right out. We ended up cutting the grass 3 times because it was just tall.
18 inches deep?
Yeah, it was pretty tall. It was, so we cut the grass, got that taken care of, and then we turned our sights on completing a project that I started back in July. I started building another platform to put out. I brought up the rest of the wood, and Thursday night, Kelly and Gabby made it up there, so there was 4 of us. We, you know how you got that fan club just rooting you on to try to do something?
Oh, yeah.
So, I have a trailer, and the platform fit right on the trailer, across, 8 feet wide. And I was like, this is awesome. So, we drove it out there, got to where about 50 yards short of where it was the final place was gonna be. And I had went in there with a weed whacker and cut a opening probably about 10 feet wide.
Okay.
And I pull the Ranger with the trailer, and I'm looking at this, and I'm looking at my brother who's sitting next to me, and I've got Kelly and Gabby going, do it, do it, do it, do it. I'm like, you think I can drive this back there?
It's got to get back there somehow.
Well, yeah, we tried. Made it about 10 feet and figured out the stumps were going to get
Oh, no.
in the way.
Yeah.
So we stopped. We pulled the Ranger up. We put the platform on the back of the Ranger, and Gabby and I and Terry held the platform, had Kelly drive it, and we just walked it back there.
Walked it back, gotcha.
It was a lot easier.
Okay, gotcha.
So we got that out there, and then we proceeded to put that up. And now this is the 3rd one I've built. And boy, it's getting easier every time.
You got it all figured out.
You are learning, and you are learning what to do and what not to do.
Right.
It's like, we're going to do this, this, and this. And we're not going to do that again. Because the first one, my brother went for a surfing ride because we forgot to put the cross supports on. That was a spot. But no. So Friday we were able to finish up, get up the platform into position, get a blind on top of it. So that's all set. Saturday, well, I pulled the cards too. I pulled the...
And?
I got bears, I got wolves, I got coyotes.
The usual critters?
The usual critters. The biggest buck on camera as of to date is a 6-point.
Okay.
So, he's a nice 6-point, not gonna lie.
Maybe they're hiding out and waiting.
So, that's what I'm thinking. I was optimistic that I'd see something better, but...
Still got time.
You know what? And throw the rut in there, and you'll see what happens.
Absolutely.
So got that put in there, and looked at the card, got the platform up, looked at the food plot fields. My cousins, they did a heck of a job with the soybeans, except the deer are just mowing them down. You can tell everyone got topped. There's this but they still had about 6 inches of growth to them. But you could just tell they were just mowing them down. So you know they're there.
Yep.
So it was pretty cool. And then what I did with my food plot, I saw a lot of clover there. So we cut it. We got the lawnmowers out. We cut it. And I took Packer Max with me. And then after I cut it, I rolled it just to press it down to get that whatever seeds came off of the clover that was there back into the ground. And then I just pressed it back in and used the clippings to put it over it so you get that moisture contact with the soil.
Right.
So
just to help hold that moisture in there. Gotcha.
Absolutely. So that was up until Saturday. The rain, it was, like I said, it was beautiful. The weather was cool, so you know the mosquitoes weren't bad. And then after that, we came home on Sunday afternoon. Beat the traffic. So that was my Labor Day weekend. I spent Labor Day Monday here catching up laundry.
The usual. Right. No, I got you. All right, well, I'll tell you, we're bumping up here on our first break, so let's take a quick break. We're going to step outside, and we'll be right back after this. Okay, those of you online that are watching, got any questions, comments?
Tim, lost connection. What did he say? Lost connection. What do you say? Lost connection for a bit.
Yeah.
Thanks for the compliment on the call, but I'm going to try to fix up a video. Going to make some more this week with different wood. Awesome.
All right, I got to maneuver here.
You maneuver, and I will make sure I hit all the comments, which I did.
Gosh, this seems so foreign to me. We haven't done a show in 2 weeks.
Man, Charles Byram throwing it at Dan Anderson. Get your bleep out there, bud.
Right?
All right.
I'm heading back up north this weekend.
Okay.
I got some more work to do. We'll talk about that here in just a second. All right, here we go. 3, 2, and 1. All right, welcome back. Second segment of the show. We're talking a little bit about what's going on up north. In the break there, I told Danny that I'm heading back up this coming weekend. We've got a piece of machinery coming in to our camp, and we're going to be doing some...
Does it burn?
It burns fuel.
Oh.
It's a big cutting head. It's got a big cutter head on it. It's a special machine. We're going to have them come in and do tag altar removal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a big grinder, and I'm going to shoot video of this. We're doing some trade-off. He's going to come in and cut our tag altar down so we can get some good regeneration going. And I'm going to take this video and post it in different places for people to see. So if they're interested in renting said equipment, they can see what they're getting.
Awesome.
So, yeah, doing a little bit of trade back and forth. So
I'm thinking it's like a giant brush hog.
No, it's on the front. Actually, Buck Bates just says, hello from the blind. Back at you, Buck Bates. Nice. Thank you for the
They are out
big
for
shot.
the youth hunt up at the Buck Bates property, and
Right.
I hope they're doing good. I know they got the kids out there, and they are trying to get them. I haven't seen any reports, so I don't know if they've gotten anything yet.
Yeah, as far as I know, they haven't. We've been waiting for a report back from them, so we'll see what happens.
You gotta love when we get conversation going. And now Dan responds to Charles. Sometimes life gets in the way.
Ain't that the truth? And there's sometimes things get in the way and you can't get out to hunt or fish or whatever, and there's just nothing you can do about it. If anybody understands right now, it's me, Dan. Believe me, and we'll just leave it at that.
Well, but we did get out for a run, and we'll talk about that later on in the show. 'Cause
Yeah.
That's a great accomplishment by both of us today. So this goes on the front of a tractor?
No, it's a machine.
It's a specifically for this?
Yes, it has
Really?
a big mulching head on the front of it. So I don't remember what it's called, but it thing's supposed to be
I
huge.
wish you would remember, because we'll hopefully see some of the video, because I'm picturing it like you can put them on the front of the
Actually, Eric,
skid
yes.
steers.
Yeah, that's exactly what he said. Attachment on a skid steer. Yes, it's a grinding head on a skid steer. But this,
okay.
But this thing it's not like your normal skid steer. This thing's supposed to be pretty big.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool.
A big heavy duty one. So
Wow, really?
yeah, I'm gonna take.
You want to make a trip to the UP?
We could. For a certain fee, he probably would go there.
I know, right? That's what I was doing in. I think that was Memorial Day. I was having fun with those tag altars.
So hopefully, I got some video to show.
Absolutely, that'd be awesome to see what that machine does
Right
in a
on.
short amount of time.
Right. So
I think I know where you're going with it, because I remember us walking through them. So.
Yep.
But that'll be good. Get up there. It's supposed to be a cool week. I'm sure it's going to be cooler up there. So
Weather's going to be great. It's supposed to be nice and mild temperature-wise. We're supposed to have no rain, so looking forward to getting back up in the North Country. So
right, exactly. And then for me, North Country, like I said, it will be October now. But if you can get out, well, we can't get out till October 1st here. So, but these guys that are fighting over it between Dan Anderson and Charles, and let us know what's going on.
right, yeah. If you guys are putting deer down early, man, send us some pics, man, so we can be envious of you.
These two guys are going at it like
That's good.
Like two guys in Virginia, I know.
Would that be Tim Sias and Whirlybird?
That would be those two guys that like to go at each other.
So,
But yeah, so no, that's good. Did they say after they grind up the tag altars how long it takes to regen?
don't know. The problem is our tag altars now. As I hit the mic, for those of you watching, we got tags that are
4-inch.
4-inch, almost 4-inch in diameter, and obviously by that point the deer can't do anything with them. They're useless. They're covering up other vegetation. Nothing can grow. So we're going to go in, and this machine's going to just mow it down, open up the canopy to sunlight. I mean, these things are 10 feet tall or better.
Because we have these along our trail to get back to our camp, and literally every 2 years, 1 to 2 years, we're having to, you look and you go in there and you go, wow, where'd they come from? And then,
Right.
like I did this year, you go in with a chainsaw and you cut them out.
Yeah.
And that section will probably be good for 2 years.
Right.
And I'll probably have to go back in. But I already see the next section because they're growing so fast.
Absolutely.
And
yeah.
it's just one of those things. But you're helping the deer, though.
Yeah, because they will eat those tender shoots when they come back up.
Absolutely.
So that's what we're doing, improving deer habitat.
That's one of the things, if anybody can do anything to help the deer out, turkeys out, it works for everybody. That's kind of a cool thing. So.
All right, so what do you want to talk about next?
So that was last weekend. You and I took Labor Day off, even though it was laborious.
Laborious.
Laborious. Boom, boom, boom. Then we were at the weekend before. We were at
TAC.
the TAC.
Have we talked about that at all?
I
can't remember.
No, because we had buck baits on.
God, that was a great shoot. If you guys has never shot a TAC event, I'm telling you, you got to get out. And I don't care where you're at in the country. They were supposed to have 15 of them this year, 14. 14, because 9 got canceled. There was 5 events. They kept Michigan. Got bumped from June to the end of August. And Danny and I's second year we've shot this, and we shot 2 days this year instead of 1 because it's just that much doggone fun.
I tell you what, if
Hardest shoot I've ever did.
it was tough. We did 2. They had 4 courses or 5? 4. They had Knock On, Sitka, Leopold, G
Prime.
So 4.
And
the little youth one.
Yeah, there's 5.
Okay. Anyways, folks, you want a challenge, a fun challenge. This is just all about fun. You can score if you want. They give you a scorecard. If you want to keep it scored, go right ahead. If you don't, no big deal. It is talk about getting camaraderie out there and challenging yourself.
Pushing yourself.
To get taken up a hill on a ski lift and said, okay, work your way back down to the bottom and go from there.
Yeah, and get out there and shoot. And these shots are long, they're tight. You take a dozen arrows with you.
They are anywhere from 20 to 100.
I think the shortest shot we shot was that turkey at 30 yards, or
On
28
ours,
yards.
it was, but I think if I remember the numbers, the shortest one was 20, and I think the longest was out 100 and... I'm just going to round up to 120.
Yeah, it was
so everything in between, depending on what.
Yeah, that caribou the second day was at 100 and something teen yards.
Yeah, that was kind of fun. You know what? That shoot this year was, after what we've done in the gym, was just, we did the video from the mountain.
Yep.
But we took the camper up there. We got in on Thursday. We got settled in, which was nice. Just kind of relaxed into it. We knew we had rain coming.
Yeah.
This was okay. I'm not gonna lie. The weatherman was right, because they said anytime after 2 o'clock it was going to rain. And 2:05 it started raining.
Yeah, we got soaked at the end of day 1. The last 5 targets was wet.
And that was the knock-on course. And the knock-on course this year was you were sent up the hill, which was the knock-on by PSE. And that course was literally up and down, shooting across valleys, shooting up draws. I mean, it was just...
6 miles we put on that day.
Exactly.
Up and down mountain.
We put 6 miles on shooting the knock-on course. Like Mike said, we were doing great. We got up, I think we went up 11:30, got up there, we started, met up with 2 young gentlemen and their dad. We hooked up with them. We kind of shot with them a little bit. And but I tell you what, that was some of those, and plus the rain that was there and fog and everything made kind of the slope kind of slippery.
Oh yeah, you had to watch your step.
Absolutely. You definitely...
Well, the first shot, we walk up on the first shot, and you're shooting downhill across the valley. It was 60 yards, 61 yards to a fallow deer, and there was about a foot gap that you could shoot through the vitals. And the foot gap was not where we were at. It was down at the animal. So you had no room for error.
You pulled a little bit. You had I want to say...
You flushed it all. You were busting an arrow.
Yeah, and we actually did pretty good on that.
Yeah.
Trust us, folks. At this shoot, when we hear foam, it's all good.
It's a win, you know.
It is a win. And then you're shooting at a pheasant that was 48 yards out in the middle of the woods.
That's the one I lost an arrow on.
Yep. And
I hit a twig. It was darn near 50-yard shot at a flying pheasant. And yeah, I didn't even try to look from arrow. I hit that limb and I just seen it go to the right, and I'm like, yeah, I'm done with that.
Yep, exactly. So the knock-on course itself there's 25 targets in each course. We made it to target 20. We were still kind of in the woods, and we could start to hear it rain. The last 4 targets were out in the field, and boy, did we get soaked.
They were on the face of the mountain on the ski hill.
Yep, and we got soaked from our hips down. It was just, and then it got slippery.
Yep.
And it was just. It was fun.
It was fun. It was challenging, very, very challenging.
You know, and that's one of the things, because I was doing okay. My lens was getting a lot of water on it, and you really couldn't stop it. It was just going to happen. We were shooting at boars, rams, lions.
55 yards at a raccoon downhill.
50. You can hit one, but try to hit a badger at 3 yards.
You're right. Yeah, that was yesterday.
The last shot, pouring rain, a jackalope, was 102 yards. Yeah, well, Mike and I, the young kids did it, and the dad, and we said, we're moving up. So we moved up to 60, I think it was.
Yeah, we shot it at 60.
We shot it at 60.
Well, my setup, I was using my hunting setup, and I've got a 20, 30, 40, 50, and 60-yard pin, and my bubble, the top of my bubble is 70 yards. And that we'll talk about that in the second day. So we moved up on the really long ones. I mean, we had that big buck, that mule deer, along the edge of the runway of the airport there at Boyne, and it was just inside, and it was raining that day. That was on the Sitka course.
Yeah, that was Sitka course.
So we moved up, I think, to 70 or 80 yards, and
we both smoked them.
Yeah,
that was okay. If we had a video, that was our video of the day.
It was the best shot ever.
Yeah, because your arrow, actually, you could see the vapor trail because it was pushing the rain aside as it was going through the air.
As it's twisting off the veins, you can see that. You can see the spin of the water coming off the back of the veins.
It was pretty cool. So that was the knock-on course day one. Soaked. For some reason, I lost my boots. I couldn't find them. Lo and behold, they were in the trailer. They just got pushed under the slide out, I guess. Now I find them when I was home.
It was a great shoot. Second day, we shot the Sitka course, and that was flat and long.
Well, the Sitka course is the one course that's off the mountain, and it's usually pretty tough. But due to COVID, which wasn't running the shuttle,
the shuttle,
they made it flat and long out the backside.
Everything was long.
Oh, geez, oh, Pete. Well, the first shot was into total darkness at whatever we were trying. It was.
Yeah, we're standing in a field in the sun, and then you shoot into a gap through into this forest, and it was dark, and you had to use binoculars to even see the animal, just to see a silhouette. That was a tough shot.
You're right, Tim. They do exist. Jackalopes do exist, like Daryl does. You're right.
Yeah, at 100 yards.
Right. So, but that course, and in the beginning, it started to rain, and I was all messed up. And some of those shots was tough because it was dark in the woods, and I was having a tough time picking up the target. And a few of those, I was zinging arrows left and right.
Yeah, there was a shot on there. I was trying to remember what it was.
The one cool shot was the stag across the
pond.
The pond.
Yeah,
that was fun.
Oh, 4 of the last 6 shots, 4 in a row, were all 70 plus, like 70 to 74 yards.
Yeah.
And so everybody's shooting them, and here I am. I don't have a 70-yard pin. I'm like, okay, it's bubble time. And then I was just like, please, just hit foam. And I hit all 4 targets, but one of them was 74 yards. It was, I believe, a ram.
Was that the laying down ram?
No, it's the one that had about a 6-inch gap.
Yeah.
We were watching everybody. These 2 guys in front of us on that course were just lights out, smoking everything, and we walked up on them to get ready to shoot, and then one guy blew an arrow up, hit the tree. So, I think one of our guys, I can't remember who, didn't one of them blow up an arrow? Because we were shooting with Kyle and his 2 buddies. There's 5 of us.
I think one of them did, because you could either the head, a tree, a little bit of the midsection, a tree, or the butt.
Yeah.
I hit the butt. I was happy. I hit foam.
So I said, okay, 74. pull back anchored. I laid the bubble right on the top of the back of the ram, centered it up between the two trees and let it fly, and caught it. And I couldn't believe it. That was the best shot of the day.
Right,
and I was so
exactly.
ecstatic that I hit that thing and actually scored on it. So, but I hit all 4 targets like that. I mean, it was 4 in a row, and I just kept laying the bubble up there and using my bubble as a sight. So that was pretty cool.
Guys, you target shooting 60 yards. What is the farthest you will shoot hunting? Okay, so my target bow, I can shoot up to 80 yards. But comfortably hunting, probably 60.
Yeah, my target bow I can shoot out to 100 yards. Actually 100 plus, but I've shot it only at 100 yards.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable shooting out to 100 yards, but on an animal, probably 50 for me. I have no problem taking a shot that long. Well, last year I took that shot, what we call the Matrix buck. It was 44 yards, the one that jumped my arrow. And we're going to talk about that in 2 weeks.
Yes, Charles Byram. You got to tune in 2 weeks.
Because we're talking with G5.
We're going to talk to G5, and we're going to talk to him about the question and the discussion we had about
at TAC. Yeah, we talked about it at TAC.
And I flat out asked him, and he flat out answered me.
Yep.
It's kind of nice.
So we're going to get an answer on that and talk about that on the show. And if you don't know what it is, I'm telling you, you're going to want to tune into that show.
Right, exactly. So Dan Anderson, 50, 60 yards, definitely if you, with a rangefinder that has the angle adjustment on it that tells you exactly what to shoot. And if you're comfortable shooting, I feel comfortable because I got the sight tape going, and I feel so much more comfortable just dialing it into what I need and letting it fly.
I'll tell you, let's hold that for further discussion. Let's go ahead and take a break, come back, because I want to expand on this just a little bit. So we're going to step outside, we can take our next break, and we'll come back right after this. All right, guys. Got any questions or comments? Shoot them in. Great.
And Todd, we can talk about that, and you're right. There is a ton of science going into food plots. It's just not your basic... You can make it as easy as you want or as intricate as you want. First thing you got to do is get a soil sample.
Bingo. That's the very first thing.
You start there and work from there.
And I would suggest, after you get that soil sample, talk to 3 or 4 people that are very knowledgeable on planting food plots. You know, whether they're manufacturers of or reps of seeds or whatever, or just somebody who puts in food plots that does the farm work. Just talk to some different people and get different, because there's actually different mindsets.
Oh, absolutely.
On the way to do things, and then figure out what's best for you.
And you're going to hear from one end of the spectrum to the other end of the spectrum. Trust me, depending on who you talk to. And you're right, Charles.
Yes,
they did make some new heads, and we're going to talk about them in 2 weeks.
Yes, we are. Here we go. Stand by in 3, 2, and 1. Welcome back to the third segment of the show. And when we left off, we're talking about shooting maximum distance of what you're comfortable shooting at. You know, Danny, he's in that 50, 60. I'm at 50. I'm at a solid 50 for sure. You know, in this weekend, you know, as well as shooting at TAC, this weekend we went out and we shot 3D course yesterday.
Yeah.
And, you know, Danny, he runs a single pin fixed. His is a slider. He's got, you know, micro adjustable on his, and he's got, you know, the sight tape the whole 9 yards. With mine, I'm running a 5-pin fixed sight system. So I'm, you know, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 on my pins, and anything in between I'm pin gapping. And it, on an animal, that's what I was shooting yesterday. The biggest adjustments I have an issue with is making those 32, 33 yards, 37, 38 yard shots. Those in between shots that are in between the 5 yard and the 10 yard mark. You know, on a pin gap, you know, when you start getting out to distance, you know, you're even with a 0.19 pin, you've got quite a big gap at that distance. It's not like you can put the pins on the top, at the back, and the bottom of the animal, you know, like you could at like a 20, 30 yard shot. Well, you know, once you start stepping out, you know, that animal gets a lot smaller. And that's where I have those issues.
Right, exactly. And one of the things, like my slider, typically I run with like you do, but I just grabbed my slider off my other bow and put it on my hunting bow this year.
Okay.
And I'm gonna go with it. So I got to have my rangefinder. I'll go out when I go sit out there. I'll range find different areas so I know the difference.
Right. Yep.
And then it's just one of those things. It's just practice.
Well, I want to get some of those buck baits stakes and use them this year and put them out at different distances so I know. I mean, that I always mark trees and things like that. But my question to you, Danny, is by running a sight system like that, are you worried? You know, because I mean, I usually have my rangefinder in my pocket or on a lanyard where I've got quick access bang range, you know.
Yep.
So I range the deer, and then I know, okay, if it's 45 yards, I'm going to pin gap, you know, a 50 to 40 yard shot on the animal, and I just pull up, get the pins on where they need to be, and let it rip. Whereas you're going to have to make those adjustments. Are you worried about the animal hearing those click adjustments or not?
No, because mine's a silent slider.
Okay.
There's like the one Gina was using yesterday. You could hear the clicks, but no, mine's a silent slider, so it just slides and then you lock it down.
Okay.
So what my plan is to finish that thought out is I'm going to set it at probably 25 or 30.
Right.
And then start from there.
Right.
And
right.
see how it all works out.
Okay. Mark Coleman come up with a great question. How does wind and rain affect your shots at those longer distances, and do you compensate for it, yes or no? Actually, if it's high wind day, I won't hunt. I won't go out in the stand and spend a day out on a blow day. Rain, I don't like hunting in the rain either, because when I'm shooting archery, you're going to be tracking an animal, and I don't want the blood trail washed away. So
agreed.
Usually those two situations I won't set in a stand and burn. I mean, I'll actually burn the day.
Right.
That's just me personally.
I totally agree, because I don't like hunting in rain.
Yeah.
A slight mist, I guess, is okay, but
Yeah.
downpours, forget it, because once that blood trail goes away, it's very tough in the fall.
Yeah, and the other thing is, you know, if it's one of them days where it's like, okay, yeah, we got a little rain, we got a little wind, I'm probably not going to be sitting in a tree stand. I'm going to be sitting in a shooting house that I've got access windows to where I can actually shoot my bow out of, and I'm not going to take a shot that long. You know, it's going to be a 20, 25 yard, maybe 30 yard shot at the most. I'm going to draw that effective range in. I'm not just going to launch an arrow for the sake of launching an arrow at an animal.
Exactly. And, okay, so Mark Coleman, thanks to Dan Yassa, 2 years ago at Tech, they have a practice area, 50 targets, up to 112, I think the line was this year. And up the mountain, there's 4 flags.
On each side of the course.
Yep, I'd say it's probably every 25 yards. Mm-hmm. And what he taught us, and this was kind of cool, he goes, because we were talking about the exact same thing. You know, you got this line out there at 112 yards. You know, what do you got to do? Well, he goes, watch the flags. He goes, look at the first 2 flags. It's not doing anything. But as you get to the third flag, all of a sudden you start to see the wind changing, and then at the 4th flag, it was even more. So with a system like that, if you've got identifiers at a distance, you can start to see what you need to do, knowing that you're going to be fine for the first 40 yards, but then you're going to have some wind issues the last 60 yards.
Especially if it's uphill or downhill. You know, look at the leaves on the tree.
Exactly.
If you've got tall grass, watch the blades of the grass move and what have you. But even on the mountain, what we noticed, you know, from the one in the middle to the one at the top, the wind direction even changed because of the face of the mountain, the way the wind was running on that, and it can affect your shots depending on how hard it's blowing.
And also, as you're watching your thermals, then you gotta watch: is it a sunny day? Is it a cool day? What's the wind doing? And Dan and just he taught us that. And it's like I started watching this year, so advanced this year. I was watching that and it's like, wow, look at that. And
the one thing I tried to do this year, a little different than I've done in years past, is when I'm shooting long, like anything here at my house, I can shoot out to 90 yards. Between 60 and 90, even at 50, I'll go out on a day where it's pretty windy, and I'll launch arrows to see how much compensation I have to do to make sure I'm still on line. You know, and no, I'm not going to shoot an animal at that distance, but at what distance does it start to affect that flight of the arrow, and at what wind speeds?
I tell you what it does do is with this, even though it's a fun shoot, and don't think you're not going to lose an arrow. You're going to wrap one around a tree. It just admit it.
It's going to happen. Because you're taking shots that you'd never take in the field.
Yes, for sure, that's a true statement. And what this does is it adds to your confidence of, yeah, I hit that target at 70 yards, or I hit that target at 65 yards. So when you bring it back down to a
25,
50,
30 yards,
30, 20,
yeah,
it's like, oh.
Yeah, your confidence level goes a lot higher.
It does, and that's one of the things that this shoot should instill in you is confidence, and it should not. You got to take the side like we just talked about. Yep, I hit a tree. What? Yeah, are you going to shoot at an animal that's gives you a 6-inch between the two trees typically?
No.
Probably not.
No, you're not going to, and most people are not going to take that shot. So that's the point.
Exactly. This challenges you to take things that you are uncomfortable with and do it.
Yeah.
And it is fun.
And just make sure you got some arrows with you.
Yeah.
Because you're going to, I lost one the first day and I lost one the second day.
Yep.
Actually, I lost two. On the very first target, when I pulled back, that was on sick, of course, the one where you said you were shooting into that dark forest.
Oh, yeah.
I went to pull back, and as soon as I pulled back, I touched my trigger off and doofed it.
It went flying.
It went flying, didn't even look for it, but I went ahead and took a second shot. But that's the one I lost.
And
one of the ones I lost.
And overall of the event, of the TAC, there was some vendors there that weren't there because of COVID. There was also a vendor there because they were out of arrows.
Right.
They could not get any more arrows from the warehouse, so they didn't come to Michigan. So yeah, expect to lose some arrows, but expect to have a good time. Get a group together. Hopefully, we talked with the owner of TAC. We were sitting there. We talked with him. So next year, they're looking at a bunch of things. He ain't making any plans till December to start nailing down dates.
Right.
So hopefully, maybe early next year when we can get him on, and we'll see if we can't, see what he's got planned.
You guys get out and shoot TAC, man. If you get one, if it's at 2 states away, it's worth the drive. Eric Dabb says, aim small, miss small. Absolutely. And Mark Coleman, layup and free throw versus three-pointer confidence. Exactly. If you're only shooting 20 or 30 yards and that's all you ever shoot, if you don't expand your effective range as far as shooting practice, step out to 40 and step out to 50. Start taking them longer shots, because once you get that confidence level, hey, I can hit that. Maybe it's just hit the target, hit the bail, whatever, and then you step back into 20 and 30. All of a sudden, man, that you start wadding them up. It's amazing what it does for you in your confidence level.
And Eric Dabbs, I have said that for as long as I can remember, seeing it and hearing it in the movie. Aim small, miss small is just a great. Always in your head, say that when you're shooting, and I tell you what, it goes a long ways. But TAC is incredible. You guys got to get out there. We're hoping we'll hear early next year when Michigan will be. We'll probably be going back.
Yeah, and I want to tell you, if you're one of the people here in Michigan, then you want to shoot Michigan, you better sign up the first day, because this year everybody inundated the website so bad it crashed. They sold that whole event out for the weekend in one day. And the only reason we got to shoot this year is because they pushed it back from June until August, and some people canceled. Obviously, they couldn't make the event, and I was on the wait list. And I said, I want to know exactly when tickets go on sale, the leftovers, and that's how we got in. So, Tammy wants to do the.
Tammy, you got to shoot a regular bow though. Can't shoot a crossbow.
That's right. Yep. You got to shoot a vertical bow.
Yeah, we'll let you guys know. Maybe we can get a whole group to get up there and we'll have a good time. We stayed at a campground that was a private campground.
That was a blast.
And it was a blast. It was basically 50% archers and 50% that was doing off-roading. So
yeah, it was a great time.
If we get a group up there and we can get a whole bunch of campsites together, we can get up there a day early, sit, talk, and you're off depending on how you want to do it. The last chair goes up at 4 o'clock, and it takes you about 4 hours to complete a run down. So you can do yours, and then if you get back up, you can go up and do another one.
Yeah, we've shot at 11:30, I think.
Yeah, and so you can make it what you want. We did one a day, and it was fine.
Yeah, we did 6 miles both days.
Yes.
So-
we did 6 miles up and down a hill. It was pretty fun.
It was a blast. Well, I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and take our next break. We come back, we can talk about
This weekend.
this weekend, yeah, the shoot and,
Yeah.
and a little dinner.
A little dinner.
Excuse me. Whoa. I think it's coming back up on me there. All right, we're going to step outside and take our last break, and we'll be right back after this. All righty.
Yes, Tammy. You know. Tell Todd when your guys are ready. Let us know.
All righty. Just a second, we'll get going with the last segment. That's a good talk there. Thanks for the questions, guys. You know, and we talk about this, usually every year, but there's a lot of new people, and they're like, well, who would take a shot like that? Well, most people are not going to take a shot like that, but it pushes you. It pushes your effective range a little further out each time. It challenges you to take shots that obviously we're not going to take in the field, but when you start hitting those shots, it's like, okay, well, if I can hit that, I know I can hit that 25-yard, buck quartering away. It's
Yeah, it instills confidence in you. You know you're not going to shoot at a boar that's half standing up with the hindquarters laying flat.
Oh, I remember that one. Yeah.
And you're shooting downhill at, I think it was 60 yards.
Yeah.
50.
Yeah.
You're not going to take that shot, but that's the shot.
That's
so
the
you got to
shot.
do it.
Yeah.
And you got to try to figure out where the vitals were you think they were, but they weren't there.
And you couldn't see them even with binoculars because it's so dark in there.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
And I kind of learned this style of shooting and pushing that effective range. I learned that back the first year we started the podcast back in 2000. That was 2007. I think it was 2008. Actually, the second year from the guys from Bowcast out in Colorado. They were the new breed archery, the new school archery type thing, pushing those effective ranges. Those guys were taking extreme shots out west, and I started listening to them, and that's when I started shooting longer distances, and it really helped me out as far as learning more about archery and learning to be able to shoot distance. But that podcast now has taken over.
The one and only.
Carrie Z. So she has now got Bowcast 2. So get over to Carrie Z's page on Facebook. Look up Bowcast 2.
2.0.
2.0, that's right. Bowcast 2.0. She has got some incredible interviews over there. But I want to give her a shout out here on the show because we're talking archery. And I'm telling you what, I've listened to her first 4 episodes since she's launched that, and there's nuggets in every single one that you guys can take to the bank.
We'll have to see if next year, which hopefully is a lot smoother than this year, if we can't drag her over from Wisconsin to come to TAC. We got a couple questions going into the next segment.
Okay, yep, I was just seeing that there. Okay, here we go. Let me figure out where I'm at here. Wrong computer. Stand by. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to the last segment of the show. We got some questions popping in
Last
here.
segment or third segment?
No, this is the last segment.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Jeez, oh Pete.
Good discussion tonight, man. We're flying.
Oh, man.
So-
We are, I guess. Look at the time, Dan.
Yeah,
Okay,
right.
so, first question. We can both answer this one. From Todd. Hunting, do you prefer fixed blades or mechanicals?
Well, Dan and I are on the opposite side on this.
That's right.
Danny's a mechanical guy, and I'm a fixed blade guy. And I'm actually contemplating trying out mechanical this year.
Okay, that's funny because I was going to use fixed blade, but
You were?
I was going to use the new G5s.
Well, that's what I'm going to switch to, obviously, for the fixed blade.
I was gonna look at him when Ryan Anderson was on. I was gonna ask him about him, so he talks to the people, and then I was gonna see what we could see about. But I definitely will use a mechanical for sure. There's no doubt about it. I've not had any issues with the G5 mechanicals.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk about. I don't want to get too deep into this in the weeds, but we're going to have Brian on in 2 weeks. So come back, we'll talk more about it. But I'm a fixed blade guy. I just if it doesn't move, there's nothing to fail. That's my whole mindset and theory.
Unless it whistles.
Unless it whistles, yeah. Come back in 2 weeks, we'll explain. Adam Wynn just tuned in. Adam, you got to go back and listen to the show, man. We got some good stuff on
And
tonight.
from Mark Coleman, in your routine, are you a quick release or a draw and hold for a few seconds before releasing?
Yes. To me, it's more about target acquisition. If I acquire a target and I'm comfortable with it, I'll let it rip as soon as I pull back. But if not, then I'll hold, and I'll hold as long as I need to.
So that goes along the lines of what's the situation? Is he walking in or she's walking in?
Yeah.
Do you have to pull back behind one tree and wait for another tree for them to cross into a shooting lane?
Yeah.
Or what you got to watch what the situation is, because potentially you could pull back thinking you're going to shoot real quick, and all of a sudden you're hung up and it's like, okay, they stopped.
And that's why I love PSE's Evolve Cam. We're running 90% let off on that. You know, I did that last year on the Matrix buck. I pulled back and held on that buck for probably 30 seconds, maybe 45 seconds before I let the shot go. And it's so stinking easy to hold hold it back at full draw when you're running a 90% let off. Mark Holman, I'm there with you. G5 fix. That's what I'm running. I'm probably going to run the new G5 fixed blade this year, the new Matrix.
And we'll in 2 weeks you'll see what the new one looks like.
That's right. Or not Matrix, Montec. I don't know why I say Matrix.
Well, you're thinking of the buck.
I'm thinking of the stinking buck I missed last year. So,
what is a good way to get rid of panic target panic?
You know what?
You gotta practice. You gotta practice it, and I'm telling you, I had it yesterday. I still have it to this day, and it's just a mental thing that I gotta go through in my head and say, hold, release, and not anticipate me releasing. I did that yesterday. That's when I durfed that one shot.
You know, when I get the biggest time I get target panic, it's not when I have a deer in front of me. It's not when I'm shooting in the backyard. It's when we're shooting dang circles at league. I get target panic. I don't know why, because that's competition at that point. We're shooting for score. We're shooting against another group, and
that's where I really worked on it last year towards the end of the year. And I was literally fighting myself in my head to fix that.
You know, the biggest thing I do when I'm shooting like 3D archery, or if I'm actually out in the field or shooting here in the backyard. I mean, I have it's called the shot sequence. You got a routine. You got to have a shot sequence, and you do the same exact thing every single time that works for you. You build that shot routine, and once you go through that routine, you come to full draw. You know, it's you don't think about gripping the riser. You don't think about where your hand goes on the release. You don't think about your anchor point, because you've done it so much. You're there. It becomes part of you. And at that point, the only thing I'm doing, I'm staring down range, I'm looking at the target, whatever I'm shooting at, and I wait for that pin to get and start to float where it's at, and my thumb, because I use a thumb release, it just goes off.
Right, exactly. And you're right, Eric Dabbs. If it's a buck, don't focus on the headgear.
Nope.
That's where you get people shooting at the
Antlers.
But yeah, you're right. It's always that shot sequence. We do it whether we're shooting indoor or actually when we're doing it outdoors as well. You've let down, I've let down. It's just like...
And don't be afraid to let down.
Yeah.
Don't force that shot.
Or don't force the shot and then yell at yourself after.
Right.
Right?
Because I do that a lot too.
So fixed blade for my bow, mechanical for my crossbow. Never had a mechanical fail. I mean, on the crossbow. You know what? That's awesome to hear. I don't know which ones you're using, Adam, but there is some out there that I've heard issues with. So keep using them.
We did a broadhead test back in year 2.
Yeah, I think it was 2000.
And actually, Brian Anderson came over from G5, and we had, I want to say, like 10, 15 different companies that we had broadheads from that actually submitted stuff to us, and we were shooting ballistics gelatin with bones in it, and we were doing a lot of funky stuff with it, and some of the results were really surprising.
The Hooter shooter.
We were using a Hooter shooter.
That's right.
We borrowed it from G5.
Right, exactly. So so it target panic, you just got to work on it. I know Mike and I have got the thumb releases, and we got springs on them to help us with that, to feel it. And
yeah, instead of the solid barrel.
Yeah,
I don't. Mine's in my bag right now, but yeah, it's got a spring, and it's more about tension than it is about pressure.
Exactly.
Constant pressure.
And master the involuntary repetition. You're right. It's like bowling. Grim Reaper and Spitfire. Okay. So that's that. But we had a shoot yesterday, which we had a great time.
Absolutely.
Thank you to Billy Hoffman. Did a great job.
That shoot at Land O'Lakes,
Badger.
They call this the Fenton area attack shoot.
Which it was. It was definitely up
It was
and
a
down.
nice shoot.
It was a nice shoot. It was a good shoot.
I like getting off the trails, and then they made you meander through the woods. I mean, actually up and down the ravines and stuff. It was a good shoot.
It was. You did a great job. Excellent. Hats off to you. It was sunrise. We'll have to talk to Derek to find out how overall it went for him and see how they're doing. Because I think he was at the shop. I don't know if he was able to get out with his youth. I don't know.
And happy birthday to Derek, by the way, which
Yeah.
was this weekend.
Absolutely. So, and then, I tell you what, after the shoot, we headed out because we were invited to a walleye fry. Thanks to Todd and Tammy. For Todd, that fryer was frying.
That was some good eats right there, my people. I'm telling you,
And for those of you that's on the
feasted.
podcast, you gotta watch the show to see the amount of food in this fish. I call it a fish bowl. That's pretty good. They had walleye. They fried it up. They had fries. They fried them up. Real fresh cut and corn. And
desserts.
well, they had desserts from
all kinds of goodies.
out of a 20-foot table. The first 10 and a half feet were desserts.
We were eating as we went down the line.
Yeah, we did.
Fill our plate full, and it started eating as we got to the end.
Right, exactly. And it was so good. Thank you very much to you both for inviting us out there. We had a great time.
This was the best part of it right here.
And
This photo.
this photo, which you can't see on the podcast, is what Tammy refers to as her fish bacon, otherwise known as fish cheeks on a walleye.
I had somebody ask me if fish cheeks were a real thing, and I'm like, yes, they are. And it was just, they're good. Oh, they're good. They're good.
Tender. They're like little
Bacon bits.
bacon bits, and they are so good. And you guys did a heck of a job frying that. Everybody that worked on that cookout last night did a fantastic job. So hats off to you guys. Thank you very much. And when you do it again,
Let us know. keep us informed, because
lake bacon, that's it.
lake bacon. There you go.
You're right, Tammy.
That was good stuff, man.
It was.
Oh,
it was good. We actually went back for seconds. So it was good. We man, there is nothing better than fresh walleye, fresh perch, fried. Oh,
BombDiggity.com, man.
yeah, it was good. So, walleye cheeks are the best from Eric Dobbs.
Yeah.
Almost like a scallop. Yeah,
yeah.
pretty close.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way to describe it.
So that finished out last night, and then it brought us to today, and here we are back. And so you've now caught up on the last 3 weeks, actually, of what we've been up to.
Yeah. Mark's got another good question. What do you do as a pre-shoot prep? Do you stretch, inspect arrows in the bow, do drink certain fluids, pep talk mentally? Basically, I get all my gear together. I go through my bow, put my stabilizer on. I'm very anal about the angle of my back bar. It's got to be in a certain position when my hand touches the riser to keep my bow balanced. And the very next thing I do, I go out to the practice range and I shoot and I shoot and I shoot until I'm happy with where I'm shooting. And it might take 5 arrows, it might take 25 arrows. And actually yesterday when I got out there, because when we were at TAC, I was consistently shooting just a touch low left.
Oh, yeah.
So when I got to the range yesterday, first 5-6 shots low left, I actually went back to the Jeep, grabbed my wrenches, and I started wrenching on the bow and working on the sight. And I made 2 adjustments on it, and then I jumped down to the 40-yard range and started pounding the center. I'm like, good to go. I don't know how many shots I shot, but I got to that point where I was ready. I'll drink a little bit of coffee. I don't like to drink a ton of caffeine before I shoot, because I've learned when I shoot league, it really messes with my
Gets a little
head.
jumpy.
Yeah, it really messes with me. So I try to stay away from the caffeine. I take some water with me.
And we pick up chicken sandwiches.
Yeah, chicken sandwiches. Yeah, that's on the way to leagues. But I'll take water with me out on the course. Also take Cliff Bars with me. Yesterday, about 2/3 of the way through, I hadn't taken a drink of water or anything, and it wasn't warm or anything, but It was comfortable, but I bent over to tie my shoe or something. When I stood up, I almost blacked out because I hadn't eaten all morning. So first thing I did, I grabbed that Cliff Bar, powered that thing down real quick, and got the sugar going again, and got back on course, and rocked it out to the rest of the way. So it's just keeping some stuff with you, I think, is important. Keeping hydrated, keeping your mind fresh, those types of things. Stay away from the caffeine when you shoot. Although when I'm in the tree stand and I'm deer hunting, I have a thermos of Hunter's Blend coffee with me.
So,
Always.
I usually, for hunting season, I don't like to get up and rush my way out the door.
No.
So I get up, have a little bit of coffee, and I might have a banana. I see what's around for breakfast, and I'll snack, and I'll kind of sit on the couch and just mentally ease into it, thinking what I got to do, where am I going to sit, and run through it in my head. As far as stretching or anything like that, not really. Definitely look over the bow as I'm pulling it off the rack. Arrows are ready to go. Usually the bow inspection and arrow is done the night before because we're all geeked up to get ready to go, just to make sure everything's ready. And then from there, it's when I get out in the field, it's then you just running it through your head. What ifs? What if this happens? What if this there comes from this way, that direction? And just try to prepare myself for anything that might happen.
Do you take a backup bow with you to camp?
No.
I usually do. I've got another bow that's set up and ready to go, and I usually carry just in case you get a string that pops, especially if I'm gone for more than just a weekend. If it's a week hunt, even in rifle season, I take a backup rifle.
I do that.
I don't know why. Muzzleloader season, I take I've got another muzzleloader I take with me. I always try to take backup gear with me in case something happens.
In case you miss something, you wrap it around a tree.
That's
potential.
Potential at times, yes.
So yeah, is there hunting morning? I don't rush either. Got to have my morning poop.
Nice. Yep.
Nice.
You don't want to be caught in the tree stand, especially if you sit out all day. And I tend to sit out all day.
Bow hunting season, I don't necessarily sit out all day. We'll sit a morning hunt, come back, figure out. We'll try to do some work in the morning, and then go sit out for the evening, depending on how it's going.
It depends on what stand I'm in.
Yeah.
What the weather's doing.
And then when we get into November, then we kind of start pushing harder because we know we're in the rut. So it's a little different ballgame.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it depends a lot of times on the time of year, what's going on with the weather. I mean, I'll actually get up and move from one stand to another in the middle of a hunt if the wind direction changes. If I know something's coming, like a front's coming. I look at all them things. But usually in the morning, I'm up early. I'm watching Weather Channel or looking at a weather app, what directions the wind blowing, picking out where I'm going to hunt. Making all those types of things run through my head, having a cup of coffee, getting my snacks ready to have in the stand for the day.
Yep. And then we all wish each other good luck, and we usually disperse out into the woods and wait for that text.
Yep.
Unless depending on what blind you're on, I do have a blind you're kind of in no man's land.
Eric says TMI,
right?
The morning poop.
Yeah, I like that. That's a good one. So yeah, from testing yourself on long distances to target panic to a routine, you just got to do it. You
launch arrows, man.
You got to practice it. You got to
launch arrows and launch as many as you can throughout the year.
And that is a great one with all these youth seasons going on. Is getting them involved in that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whether it be shooting a crossbow, a rifle, or a regular bow, it's teaching them and just going through everything and teaching them your method or having them, maybe it's a favorite hat that they have or something like that.
Keeping the family involved, keeping the kids involved, getting people outdoors, sharing it with new people, all that good stuff. So
yep.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're bumping up here at the end of the show. So for those of you on the podcast here, we're going to wrap things up. As we always say, go over to our social media pages, give us a like, give us a follow, give us a share the show if you would. Go over to YouTube. We re-release the video portion on Wednesday for those of you on the podcast that maybe don't have Facebook, because there are people that don't have Facebook.
And if you go over to YouTube, subscribe to us, please. That's just helping us show whoever we have on or whoever we're talking to, say, hey, we got subscribers. And ever go hunting without your cell phone?
Not anymore. I don't.
Not now.
It just
Before, I can remember there was a time we didn't have cell phones, and basically they were useless out there anyways if we did.
yeah. I've got cell service now, so yeah, I rock with mine. But
And it's a camera.
yeah, but I'll expand on that here just as we wrap up the podcast portion. So yeah, go over to our supporters page. Go over and check out their websites as well. They help us. So you in turn, please go over and help them out. You know, make a purchase if you can. Don't forget the promo codes that we had at the beginning of the show. And if you listen to us on iTunes, give us a review over there. That helps us out as well. So for those of you on the podcast, remember we'll be back again next week. We're going to have Walleye Fisherman on the week after that. And then that guy's from Yamaha, right?
Yep.
And then after the week after that, we're going to have Brian on from G5. Y'all take care, and we'll see y'all again next week. For those of you on the podcast or on the live stream here, I want to expand on that question here just 1 second, if I can save this off before
Which question? The phone one?
the phone. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just 1 second.
Gosh, I remember when I hunted in the UP, phones, yeah, they didn't. I had to go to the bar to make a phone call home.
Okay, so obviously I got my cell phone. I carry it with me all the time. Right now I'm running an iPhone watch, and these two are interconnected. And I don't know if you guys know or not, but the iPhone watch has a fall alert. So when I'm in the tree stand, every time I'm out in the field, if I fall, even though I'm tethered in, but if let's say you fall and you're tethered in and you hit the shock? The shock at the end, and you're dangling from a tree and you can't get to your rope or whatever to get yourself back on stand or whatever. And what these watches do, if you set it up right, it'll make an emergency phone call to 911. The people on your emergency list get a phone call with GPS coordinates as well as 911. They get the GPS coordinates of where you're at. If you fall and you don't touch, if you don't tap the screen and shut the alarm off within so many seconds.
Okay.
I can't remember if it's 10 or 15 or 30, then it makes those calls, okay? It connects to your phone and makes those emergency calls. So when I'm in stand, I always have my watch and my phone with me. And for that reason, no, I never go in the field without it.
Right, exactly. And in my area, I've got spotty reception depending on where we're at in the property. So basically, when we're up there, we all know where we're hunting. Mm-hmm. And if it were to get too late or something to that nature, we'd obviously then say, hey, something's up.
Yep.
We'll go looking.
Yeah.
So we know approximately where everybody's hunting at all times, and we usually know. We're all pretty good about it. It's been a while since we've had I remember when I was younger, I had a cousin out there who took a wrong turn. Mm-hmm. He was running out of matches to see his compass, and he finally showed up late. So, but yeah, that is a cool feature. So that's technology.
Well, especially, when you get to, like Danny and I are both over 50. And when you start getting to our age, things can happen. I mean, we're on the anniversary of losing a friend last year, 2 weeks from now, and it all started with the symptoms started showing up in stand, and so it really starts to make you think a little more critically. And when I hunt by myself, I'm not scared to climb a stand, but I'm very, very cautious. I'm tethered in. I got lifelines, and when I ascend and descend, I am tied in because I worry about falling and getting hurt and laying there. Those are the things that enter my mind, so I'm very protective of that now.
Well, that goes along the lines of why I'm making these platforms.
Right.
Days of trying to climb up this branch to that branch up into my little tree stand that I got tucked up,
Yeah.
I'm done with that, because there's a couple tree stands that are literally the first two steps was the OMG, I'm going for it, and then the reverse coming down, and it's like, no, we're done with that. Make it a lot simpler.
I don't use hang-on stands anymore.
Right.
I will not use it. I refuse to use hang-on stands. They scare me to death. I've seen too many people get hurt on them. I use ladder stands now, and I use heavy-duty ones. I fully believe in using the appropriate gear when you're ascending and doing an all-day sit. So
Linda at Thornhill, I'm 67 and just got my first phone because I was catching 5-pound smallies at Lake Erie, and it was raining, and nobody would take a pic in the rain.
Well, that too. You know, I mean, for what we do with the podcast and everything, and the people we work with, I mean, everybody wants a hero shot. You know, or you get game, or whether it's a fish or a bird or a deer or a turkey or whatever, everybody wants a pic. You know,
Yep.
So I carry a selfie stick and carry my phone. If nobody's with me, I can use a selfie stick and I can take that picture.
That's right. So my first text when in the stand is someone telling them where I'm sitting, safety first, make it last. You got it.
That's awesome. I usually text somebody and say, "Hey, I'm in stand," or "Hey, I'm coming back into camp." You know, that way somebody knows. So.
Tammy Delk, we don't bounce as well as we used to.
No, we don't, and you don't recover as fast either.
That's
so.
the most important thing, is you don't bounce when you get older, and you don't recover as fast.
So.
And I tell you what, when you get older and you hurt something and it takes that much longer, it takes you out of the game.
Yep.
And who wants to be out of the game when it's October?
Yeah, well, you know,
November.
I've been putting them off getting my knee looked at, and I'm going in this week to have it seriously looked at. So hopefully,
November 15th will be your surgery date.
no, it won't. I'm going to push it back if that's the case. I can still get around on it and run, but man, it's getting worse, and I need to get it taken care of. But as we do get older, you got to take more precautions and just be safe out there.
Okay.
And that's the biggest piece of advice I think we can give anybody.
Safety, safety, safety. Adam Wynn, neighbor just sent me a pic of his nephew who just got a nice big doe. Gotta love to see it.
That is awesome.
Back straps on the grill.
There you go.
Or is what did you say? Crock pot meat?
Crock pot.
Crock
Well, I just named those crock pot.
Okay.
Or freezer fillers.
All right. I'll go with that.
So, all right, guys, we're going to wrap it up. We're running a little bit long tonight here, but great questions, great comments. We appreciate you guys tuning in. And as we told the people on the podcast, do the same thing. Give us a like, follow, share here on our social media pages, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all the above. So, you know, go over to our supporters page. They got some great deals going on. Use the promo codes that we give you as well. Remember, next week we're going to be talking to a Yamaha Pro walleye fisherman.
Another walleye fisherman.
Right on the heels of this nice walleye fish fry we had.
Yes. Yummy. All right.
So y'all take care, and we'll be back again next week. And in 2 weeks, we got Mr. Anderson
G5.
from G5. We're going to be talking broadheads and a lot of cool stuff. Y'all take care. We'll see you again next week.